Thank you. Okay, so in my Bankers Abroad episode, when I was in the ecstasy business, my competitor was Sammy the Bull Gravano, the underboss of the Gambino crime family, who murdered up to 24 people, I think. And his son later told me in prison that he'd been dispatched by his dad as the head of an armed crew one night to kidnap me from a nightclub and take me out to the desert. And the only reason they missed us is because my best friend, Wildman, who's one of the main characters in Hard Time, he got in a scuffle and we had to leave that club in a hurry. So, you know, on the drugs I was telling myself this is fun, this is cool, this is the buzz. But once I sobered up and looked back, once this cloud lifted out of my head, I was like, how on earth was I still alive after I put myself in all these dangerous situations? Now, Sammy the Bull Gravano, his daughter, is now the star of a hit reality TV show in America called Mob Wives. So that family now have gone to Hollywood, and I've been in touch with the son of Sammy the Bull on email, so there's no threat to me now anymore from Sammy the Bull Gravano, from the Italian mafia. I don't feel like there's a threat to me anymore. Okay, next question please. Yeah.
I kind of wondered why they didn't extradite you back to the UK. Like, why did they keep you in the States?
Okay, to extradite you back to the UK from a foreign prison, you have to be sentenced to start the process. Yeah. And I was on remand for 26 months, which was quite a long time. The process then takes 2 to 3 years to get approved for all the different levels of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And by that time I was almost at my release date anyway. So it wasn't worth it for me personally to initiate that transfer back.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Would you have considered yourself aggressive when you were in the prison?
Do I consider myself aggressive in prison? I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not a big, tough person. And prison is full of big, tough people. So you have to put on a front, because if you show any weakness, it gets preyed on. If you're kind to people, if you start feeding people and stuff like that, you'll have people lined up at your cell all day long trying to take your food. So, you know, I consider myself a nice guy in regular society, but I couldn't behave nice as society understands it in prison because I would have gotten taken advantage of. Now, if anyone threatens you in prison and you back down, then you're considered a punk, and that again opens the door for everybody to prey on you. Now, I was fortunate because I didn't get challenged that much. Over 100 people were arrested with me, including some of my bouncers from the rave scene, and we were all protecting each other in the early years. And then later on I had key people protecting me, like a guy called Two Tonys. He was dictating his life story to me. He was an Italian mafia mass murderer who left the dead bodies of rival gangsters from Arizona to Alaska. If you've only murdered rival gangsters, he was serving 112 years. You're at the top of the respect in the prison, because there's a hierarchy amongst murderers. If you've murdered a woman or a child, it's KOS, kill on sight. The prisoners try and kill those guys as soon as they come in. So, you know, if you want to survive prison, you've got to put on a tough front. Otherwise, any weakness gets preyed on, because it's just raw survival of the fittest in there. People don't have much, and they're looking to take anything from anyone that they can get. Okay, next question, please. Yep.
In a documentary, you observed, you say you observed all the ways that you could die in prison, like hazardous ways you could die.
Yes.
So one of the things was food poisoning.
Yes.
What did you eat if you didn't eat the food?
Food poisoning was common in the jail. In the remand jail, breakfast was green bologna and mouldy bread. Green bologna is a raw sausage meat that's gone past its sell-by date, and it's got like this green shine to it. The evening meal is a mystery meat slop that we called Red Death. It looked like carroty vomit blended with blood. Had all kinds of random meat in it, and sometimes there was dead rats in it. Yeah, so periodically, from the nature of this food would generate food poisoning. And I had the Financial Times, used to read the Financial Times, and you only allowed so much toilet paper in there. So when these food poisoning outbreaks would occur, the prisoners would be coming to me then, demanding the Financial Times, because they didn't have any toilet paper left. Now, I tried to avoid this by converting to the Hindu religion, because I was practicing yoga, to get a vegetarian religious diet. Yoga is not a recognised religion, but Hindu is a recognised religion, and under the constitution you're allowed to get a vegetarian diet. It's freedom of religious expression. It took me months to do it, playing the system I was, and in the end I got authorised to have this Hindu diet, vegetarian diet, and in the morning, instead of getting the mystery meat with the mouldy bread, I got a little thing of peanut butter, but it was burnt, so it tasted a bit rank. And in the evening I got a veggie burger and some potatoes. I was really excited at first until I tried it. To eat it, the veggie burger was as hard as a discus. I had to put it in water and swill it to get it down. And the potatoes, you know, an English manly spud, I'm getting right in there, and then I see all the lesions and the dirt, and there was long strands of human hair in the potatoes as well for some reason. So converting to vegetarianism enabled me to avoid the food poisoning, but you know, the food was how I described, and I lost about 2 stone in 26 months, and I'm a skinny guy to begin with. My parents said I looked like a concentration camp survivor at my sentencing hearing. Yeah. Okay, next question. Yes?
So when you were in prison, did you have to then try and, obviously you couldn't get any drugs, so were you trying to get off the drugs while in prison, so wasn't that absolutely awful?
Prison was the wake-up call I needed to get me off the drugs, because I'd quit dealing ecstasy, but I hadn't quit personal use. You know, I didn't even consider myself a drug addict. I was in complete and utter denial, and the therapist said, "Shaun, are you a drug addict?" "Oh, as someone who wakes up in the morning, gets the heroin out and shoots up to get through the day. I go out party on the weekends, get back to studying or work on the weekdays. I'm not a drug addict, I'm just a weekend party person." He's shaking his head and he says, "Shaun, a drug addict is someone who does drugs to the point where it affects their life. Take a look around you right now, where are you?" So I look out the window, gun tower, guard, rifle, razor wire. I'm thinking, you know, I've got addiction issues, I need to deal with them. So it was the slap around the face to get me off the drugs. Cold turkey was getting arrested. Going on this fantastic journey through literature, reading all the original texts in psychology and philosophy. I read over 1,000 books in just under 6 years. And then this therapist coming into my life really forced me to look inside myself and address the issues that were leading to me taking drugs. And I developed the tools to put them in its place. And now I go to the fitness centre, do yoga, body combat, karate, and come out on a natural high. So, you know, prison saved my life, and it was something I needed to go through to grow up. But for most young people I saw, it's an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. They come in, they go from smoking pot, doing club drugs, to shooting up heroin and crystal meth. 90% of prisoners were shooting up heroin and crystal meth. 2/3 of them have hepatitis C. They get these neo-Nazi tattoos so they can't get jobs then, and they just come right back to jail. And where I was at, which prided themselves on having the toughest prisons in America, it's got the highest crime and reoffending in the whole country as well. Scandinavians, which are more humane, have got the most success in terms of low reoffending and crime. Yeah. Okay, next question, please. Yep.
So was the therapy provided to you as like part of your sentence?
Good question. The medical staff in the prisons in Arizona where I was housed generally were barred from public practice. That's why they'd gone to the prison sector. And in terms of psychotherapy, most of the doctors, the psychiatrists, were just experimenting on the prisoners with the latest generation of psychotropic drugs. Because the prisoners aren't considered human beings, it's considered institutional use. And every time I went to the psychotherapist, you know, generally they would try and prescribe me something. But it was about 3 years into my sentence, I met this psychotherapist in there, which he was against, you know, all these medications. He was holistic, he was into Eastern philosophy and yoga and all this stuff, and I really clicked with him. And I had about 12 sessions with him, and to this day, you know, I remember what he taught me. I still fall back on it to this day. I feel really blessed to have met him in such a bleak environment. Yeah. Okay, next question. Yep.
2 things. How did you go about making friends with an ex-mob hitman killer?